I don't really know what's gone into me in the last few weeks, but I'm benching a lot. I am spending a lot of my training time benching. And the weird thing is, I don't have to force myself to do this at all. I'm looking forward to the sessions. I'm enjoying it. My body's feeling great. And I just can't stop thinking about what's changed. I remember feeling pretty shitty bench pressing, bored, didn't see the connection to where I wanted to go. And now I'm like experiencing quite a lot of pleasure spending a majority of my training time bench pressing. And the weird thing is, this is the weirdest thing, is that this happened when my first child was born, around that period after his birth, second, and now the third child as well. It's almost like each kid that gets born is like subconsciously telling me, Dad, you got to bench, man. It's weird. It's kind of funny. I don't really know why, but I remember vividly times in my life where I was like, yeah, I'm going to bench a lot. For me, the mental aspect of all of this is really interesting to me and intriguing to me. This whole training session, I kept thinking about a few things that dominate our decision making. I don't know whether you guys realize this or not. Every morning that we wake up, we're essentially a bit of a clean slate, as in we've just had 8 hours of sleep and we haven't had anybody in our ear, we haven't had a screen in our face, we haven't had anybody tell us anything. So it's almost like you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, brush your breath of fresh air, and you can kind of go about your day in whichever manner you want to go. It's kind of like a reset button, minor kind of reset button. But then that period lasts very, very small duration because we often go to some sort of media, social media, TV, newspapers, talk to somebody else in our life. We just start to consume things. And these initial stimuli that we get affected by will often direct or change, adjust our path in the day. So you might wake up in the morning with all this willpower, all this motivation to do a certain thing, but then you get influenced by a few individuals. All of a sudden, you look at the clock and it's 9 p.m. It's time to go back to sleep, and you've done nothing that you maybe set out to do. You get distracted. And it's often underrated how much of an impact our surroundings have on us. It's actually profound. And something that I've noticed myself in the last 4 weeks that I've had off work is that I haven't had the hospital in my life the last 4 weeks. I haven't been around stories of the hospital. I haven't experienced, I haven't smelt, I haven't felt, I haven't seen, I haven't done a lot of these things that I get exposed to on a daily basis when I go to work. I see the top of society, I see the bottom of the barrel, scraping the bottom of the barrel society, people that can't even do the simplest things in life. I see that as well. I see the drug addicts, I see really rich people, I see really poor people, I see all sorts of family dynamics, abuse. And even though that can be traumatic in a lot of circumstances, I walk away with those feelings, and I think these feelings benefit me because it provides a bit of a contrast in my life, and I come to these training sessions in a different type of frequency, emotional, energetic frequency, because I've had these other frequencies exposed to, and I feel very generous. I feel very lucky what I have. I feel very lucky, blessed, and I kind of carry myself throughout the day in a different way. But now, I've had different type of frequency. I've had my little boy born a month ago today, in fact, and it's a different type of frequency. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why is Ivan different when I'm around this type of frequency, and then different when I'm, around the hospital frequency? When my son was born, I almost lost the will to talk in a way. I can't really explain that, but I just went into this like meditation mode where I was just thinking about life, thinking about the finality of life, thinking about how lucky I am to have him, how lucky I am that he's well, that mum did well, that everyone's healthy. I was just so blessed that I didn't want to talk. I just wanted to listen. I just wanted to watch, observe, feel. It's just interesting how certain influences in your life have different effects, right? When I go to the hospital, I process that type of environment differently. When I go to the hospital, to see my wife give birth to our third child, it's a different type of frequency. And like that, in a minor way, or maybe in an even more kind of extreme way, I don't know, people, the things that you consume, the social media, the media, whatever you hear, touch, taste, or whatever, it has an impact on you. So if you have somebody in your life that is just a feel sorry for me type of individual, I'm the victim type of thing, those type of vibes rub off on you, and they almost kind of eat away at your maybe positive outlook, or maybe that willpower that you had at the start of the day, in the morning, that you wanted to come in and hit the bench press. But after being around a couple of sorry asses, all of a sudden you're there like just moping around, not doing much. It's just interesting how we're all individual, but in fact we're also a collective. We rub off on each other. So this is where social media is a huge impact. It's very powerful, especially to the immature brain, to the undeveloped brain. And we all know that males, we continue to develop our mental psyche until 25, 30, right? I'm 35, about to be. And I'm, still battling with some of my thoughts and processing some of my stimuli from the environment. It's just interesting. And because we live in such an era that we live in, we live in a bubble. Everything is, I don't know why I want to say this word, through a silencer. Not that I'm a fan of guns, but everything is kind of like not real and not raw. It's almost like everything is pre-prepared. Whereas maybe 4, 5, 6 centuries ago, you would be exposed to birth, death, violence. You'll be exposed to the full spectrum of things, and that will help you set your compass in how you want to go about things, right? One of the things that I've been thinking about all day today is I have to, especially when I'm on holidays from work, I need to go to the cemetery and see my father-in-law, and I see my grandma more often, almost like twice a week, just so I can have the energy, the thoughts come into my mind. Because when I'm standing over their graves, I'm thinking about a different set of things than when I'm sitting in front of the PlayStation playing video games. You know what I mean? I get a similar vibe when I go to the hospital and I'm seeing somebody suffer, when I'm seeing somebody, get delivered worst news you could possibly imagine. It's a different type of vibe. And that frequency that vibe brings will direct you in life immensely. If you're around, like I said, sorry asses, you're probably going to be a sorry ass, and you're not going to have a lot of energy to attack life in the same way that maybe somebody who is around really positive people, really proactive people, really people who are zoomed out and seeing life for what it is and seeing the finality of life, seeing how life can just disappear in a flash. It's a different vibe. This is why I think I'm so fortunate. I'm so glad that God in some sort of way directed me into a health field, because my philosophical mind, my deep mind, how I internalize everything, this is what I need, because it provides clarity to me. There's a final date for Ivan, right? And I see that every day because I see other people visiting near finality. You know what I mean? Like they're coming in, they're circling the drain, a medical term that we often say in a kind of jokingly kind of way. Some people are circling the drain, as in, they're very near the end of life, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, of course, I'm going to be circling the drain one day as well. None of us are getting out alive, when it comes to this. And these thoughts are so beneficial to me. I don't know whether you might be different, but I need to get reminded every single day where I am on the planet, where I am in this continuum of time. I need to get reminded, Ivan, this shit ain't gonna last, man. Enjoy this very moment. Enjoy it. It's just interesting. It's just interesting how vibes, environments, emotions affect me. I lost my speech center, essentially, when I saw the birth of my child. I was so overwhelmed. And this is my third child, man. I was so overwhelmed by the power of it. It's almost like each time that I was in that delivery suite, each time at birth, I feel like I met God. You know, people ask me, and I've said this in the past, how did it feel when my son was born, the first son? Man, like the best way I can describe it is, it was so overwhelming. The emotions were so powerful to me that I felt as though that I met God. Undeniably, I felt there must be a God. Now, I don't know whether you're religious or not, whatever the case might be, spiritual, whatever, you know, part of the spectrum you are. I think these thoughts, these emotions, whatever you want to call this, you know, existence, this moment in time, it is very, very beneficial because you are asking the right questions. What is life? What is the purpose of life? What am I doing with my life? And when we live our life and we don't visit some of these questions for a long period, a long duration, we start to panic about bullshit, man-made things. Like, my car is not good enough. Like, I need to buy a new t-shirt to fill out this t-shirt. I need to get better this or that. I need to consume. I need to become an economic pawn, right? This is what we are bombarded with every single day. So media, advertisements, these man-made constructs, social media, they are literally fighting for our attention. And they are very good at it. You know, 21st century, man, 2023, man, they're very good at distracting the shit out of us. All of a sudden, we're thinking about, oh, which car is better, BMW or Mercedes? Like somebody gives a shit about what is better, man. Either you buy one or the other, it doesn't really matter because you haven't contributed anything to it. And so when you drive your car down the street, you're just advertising their shit. You haven't done anything to it. You just freaking bought it, man. So don't act like a big guy driving your Mercedes. No one gives a shit, dude. You haven't engineered it. You haven't done anything. You're just driving it like a billboard around. But that's what they do. They want you thinking about the Mercedes or the BMW or whatever else is going on. And they don't really want you to think about the real shit. Like, what is the point of life? Is there a God? What happens after death? Because when we go into these types of frequencies, we give the middle finger to all the other shit around. Consumerism, buying shit for the sake of fitting into a circle of friends. Right? This is very not sexy. This is like the anti-sexy pill, or whatever you want to call it. We get zoomed into this like irrelevant shit on a daily basis. And that's what they want us to do, because if the whole society starts to ask these big questions on a daily basis, like every single morning you wake up, you read the Bible, you read the Quran, right? You read some of these big texts. Do you think you're going to be in a better mood to buy shit or in a worse mood to buy shit? This is why they want to get rid of religion. It's bad. Buy BMWs instead. Think about BMW. As soon as you open up your page, go to the BMW section and read about the specs of the latest model. They don't want you to think about some of the heavy shit that religion used to bring. Some people use religion to think about these things. Some people use other mediums. What I'm basically saying is, when you start to think about the influences in your life completely changes direction. Completely changes directions. And I feel like the impact, the stuff that I consume, what I'm around, dictates my spirit, my mind, my emotions. It completely changes how I approach the damn barbell, right? Because when I think about God, I have a different relationship to the damn barbell. But when I think about social media and Instagram and all this other crap that people are trying to sell me, I have a different, again, a more negative type of interaction with the barbell. So when I think about God and existence and death and going to the cemetery twice a week, I feel different. Be very, very careful who you give your attention to. Appreciate you. Peace out.